there, my name is Guidry. I am a wedding photographer, and I thought today's episode would be so great to share with you the pros and cons, the real behind the scenes of what it looks like to become a wedding photographer. Speaking of wedding photography, if you're interested in downloading our free posing or pricing guide, be sure to visit the descriptions and grab those at your convenience. I know before I started as a wedding photographer, I kind of wondered what it was really like. And it wasn't until I got into the thick of actually doing this full time that I realized there were some pros and there were some cons. And so if you're in that position of trying to figure out, is this career path for me? Every job is gonna have things that you love and you don't love, right? But some jobs are gonna be a better fit for you than others. And so I want this to be something that you can kind of listen to and understand if this sounds like it's going to be a great fit. The first pro is that when you start to get hired for these special events, when you are given the opportunity to be in the room in some of the most intimate and beautiful moments ever, it is the best feeling. I am honored as someone who's been doing this for almost 15 years to have had the opportunity to really experience those moments personally and professionally, and so that is going to be a huge pro. One con is going to be that it's going to take you years of dedicating a lot of time and a lot of effort to building your reputation and building your portfolio before you start really shooting with consistency and with profitability full time. Because it's a subjective industry, it's art-based, and it takes a lot of trust for someone to hire you to photograph their wedding especially, it is going to take a while. Don't be discouraged. It definitely will happen with the time, knowledge, and experience, but that would be a con. And in the process, you will give up many of your own memories and weekends in that journey. I have unfortunately had to miss out on friends' baby showers, friends' weddings. My brother had given me his wedding date initially, and I was like, oh no, you're gonna have to reschedule that, otherwise I'm not gonna be there for your wedding. And they did. But you know, the point is that not everyone can accommodate your schedule. And so there are gonna be times when you're sadly gonna have to sacrifice your own memories in order to be there to document other people's. But the pro of that is that you will be given the chance to experience so many amazing locations, so many beautiful cultures. I know I personally have traveled a lot for wedding photography and taken pictures all over the world. It has been so amazing. So that's a huge con. You know, travel is a big part of life and something that oftentimes we see as a luxury experience, especially if you're in a corporate world where you can't really get away. But as a photographer, you can, depending on how you structure your business, be hired to actually go to these beautiful destinations and be there working, but also sometimes you can extend that, which I've done in the past, and stay for a day or two extra and really enjoy that location that you're so privileged to work in. One con is that the wedding days are very long. This past weekend, for example, I left my house around noon. I started getting ready for the event at 11. So let's say my work day started at 11 a.m., packing gear, getting ready, getting water, food, memory cards, all the things, traveled, then got to the destination, became acquainted, started photographing, and I did not actually say goodbye until 11:30 that night. And then I had to travel home, unpack, back up cards, and so my head didn't hit the pillow until after 1 in the morning. So the days are really long. You know, photographing 10, 11, 12 hours at this stage of our business is very common. When we first started, it was closer to 6 or 7. But as the events become more elaborate, the timing becomes a little bit longer. And so the days can be very long, and wedding hangovers, as they've become known in the industry, are very real. One pro is that unless you do a ton of portraiture during the weeks, during the weekdays, you can be a little bit more flexible with your schedule. We do photograph all of our sessions in the afternoons on weekdays, primarily locally. I try to get my clients, even from out of state, to come into New Orleans. There's a ton of amazing locations here so that I can focus my attention on the business during the week. So you can work from home. We have amazing, I'm so thankful we just finished our office renovation. After working from my dining room, then my master bedroom, then my guest bedroom over the years as I've moved from apartment to different houses, and we're finally in what might be our forever home, and we've renovated our office space. And so I love working from home in the office during the week, and that's a big pro for me. I almost see weddings as batch working, where on the weekends I can focus those long days on the client, on photography, and then on the weeks I can do my editing, my banking, my finances, my content creation like I'm doing now, and anything else that needs to be done for the business. We do a lot of initial and final meetings during the weeks, and so there's a lot of behind the scenes that happens, but it's kind of nice to have some client-facing days and then some days where I'm work from home. A con is that in this industry, it is a service-based industry. As any service-based industry is, not every single person you meet, whether it's the client or their parent or their aunt or friend, not every single person is going to have the same personality. And so you're going to be faced with challenges to really stretch your inner self and understand how to be professional, no matter the stress level, no matter the circumstances. There are going to be people that are rude at times. I have had some really crazy situations that I've fallen into in my career, but I truly believe it's made me a stronger, better person, better professional, and just more prepared to handle whatever comes my way. On the flip side of that, a pro is that the truth is, when you're working with people, which there aren't many businesses, I can't really think of any, honestly, offhand, that you don't work with anyone, you're always going to have these interactions, and it truly is a gift, because for every person that maybe isn't kind or isn't going to give you the best interaction, you're also going to have people that you really connect with in your industry, whether it's on the B2B side, the business to business side, or the business to client side. I've met some incredible clients that have become friends. I've also met other business owners that have become friends. And so because of that, I think that working with people and having the ability to do so will always bring good your way. A con is that it can be very expensive to get started. I've talked about money in a few episodes, but gear, software, contracts, education, professionals that you're going to have to work with, all of that kind of adds up. So that would be a con to starting the business. My best advice to you would be to start slowly and get what you absolutely need. And a pro, however, would be that there are a ton of free resources out there too. I started my business in 2008. Officially 2010, I went full time. But when I look back to fall 2008, when I discovered my love for wedding photography, there really weren't photo educators at the time. There really wasn't a lot of free information like podcasts and YouTube and all the things that are out there now. So really take advantage of that. Find the educators that you feel like are putting out good content that can help you understand the business of photography, understand the photo side of photography, and help you grow. And then if you want to take it a next step, you can join things like our Wedding Photography Society. You can join conferences and workshops, but wherever you are, just know that there is a lot of free information out there that you can sort through to help you get on your way to becoming a better business owner. One con of being a wedding photographer is that it can be a bit isolating, especially that most people work 8 to 4, 9 to 5, 8 to, 9 to 6, 10 to 6, whatever, like the daytime weekday hours. And like I gave you the example before of our past weekend, it's kind of tough sometimes being on the opposite end of that, where when everyone's off barbecuing or boiling crawfish, can you tell I'm from Louisiana? And then I'm packing up gear to go work. Even though I love what I do, I am still away from friends and family. And so that would be a con, right? Is that it can be isolating. It can feel like you're that one person that doesn't get to go to the baby shower, that one person that doesn't get to attend the wedding. But the truth is that on the pro side of this, that you're not alone. There are people who are in your same position, and so you just have to find them. Find the people who are your people and that you can connect with, the people who understand what your lifestyle is like. That was a big part of why I created the Wedding Photography Society, is because I understood that what we do is really unique, and I wanted to have a place where those people could come together and talk about their weekends and their weekdays and what their life is truly like. And so find your people, connect on the forums, and not just other photographers, but wedding planners, wedding florists. When I observe the wedding industry that I work in, there are a lot of really beautiful friendships that are formed. Some of my very best friends from people who have either worked with me as a second photographer or as a planner or just another vendor. And so really just be open to those friendships, because if anyone's going to understand what we do, it's going to be those people in the same industry. One of the biggest cons is that there are no sick days. Wedding photography is something that people plan for well in advance. Sometimes we're getting booked out as far as 18 months prior to the wedding day. And so, 18 months later, you can't predict that you're going to show up throwing up that day. You just don't know what's going to happen. And so that is a huge con. A pro is that, if you ever were in an emergency situation or even a pregnancy, I'm actually pregnant right now and I'm planning for my maternity leave later this year. When that happens, a great part of being connected to other photographers and being a part of those communities is that you have other people you can lean on and call when you absolutely need to. If it's something that you can tough it out through, then, like I said before, there are just no sick days. But, the pro side of that would be that if you have those good relationships, which you should be working on for sure in your business, is that you can call your friends and say, hey, look, this is an emergency. Are you available? I know I've personally filled in for other photographers on their maternity leave. I filled in for a photographer who had COVID. Those things happen. And so, create those friendships, create those relationships, and also be available when others need your help, because we're all in this together. When you can, be there for other people too. The final con is going to be the revenue side of this being inconsistent. Being in this particular industry, there's not really too much consistency. There's seasonal parts of wedding photography. Our summers are really slow, for example, but our fall and spring is really busy. And so that inconsistency can be challenging. But the pro is that there are ways around that to create a bit of normalcy and consistency in the business. And in terms of scaling and the financial side, if you run the business well and you do a good job and you have a good portfolio, you create good experiences, you can see the fruits of your labor and you can build a successful business. So I hope this behind the scenes look at wedding photography was insightful and fun to listen to. I know when I was starting out, I would have loved for someone to tell me all of these things in advance so I could know what to expect. But now that I've been doing this for over a decade, almost 15 years, I've shot somewhere between 400 and 500 weddings. I kind of have a good idea of what it feels like to do this full time. And I would love if you have any other questions to drop them in the comments below. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening.